The elders said never provoke humanity, they didn't listen. When the young races of the Orion arm gathered for war, they dismissed the words of their elders as superstition. The humans, scoffed Admiral Vratel of the HumanDominion. A primitive deathworld species? They barely survived their own planet's climate. What could they possibly do to us? The chamber murmured in agreement. The Vayari twitched their golden mandibles. The Ileri ruffled their feathers in disdain. The Kareth just smiled, predators always eager for fresh prey. But in the back of the hall, the oldest of them all, an Ileri elder named Jalen, spoke softly, his voice trembling like the wind through leaves. Do not provoke humanity, he warned. They are not like us. They do not conquer for sport, nor destroy for pleasure. But if cornered, if wronged, they will not stop until the stars themselves burn. The council laughed. They didn't listen. And that was their first mistake. The spark. It began on the mining world of Endora Prime. A human colony shared the system with Zixar prospectors. A border dispute turned violent. Shots were fired. The Zixar admiral demanded surrender. The humans refused. When the smoke cleared, 5,000 humans were dead. The Zixar broadcast their victory across the networks, proclaiming it proof that the Deathworld myth was just that, a myth. But the transmission reached Earth. And Earth went very, very quiet. The silence before the storm. No immediate response came. No declarations, no fleets. For a brief, naive moment, the council believed the humans were cowed. Then their networks began to flicker. Communications failed. Logistics collapsed. Cargo routes jammed without explanation. Entire fleets lost their navigation data. By the time they realized what was happening, the humans had already been there inside their systems, invisible, watching. The first message appeared on every channel, written in plain Terran standard. You shouldn't have done that. The first retaliation. It wasn't a fleet that came first. It was a ship. One ship. The Horizon's Wake, a Terran deep space destroyer, entered Zixar space without escort. They laughed, called it suicidal, and sent 3 cruisers to intercept. The cruisers vanished within minutes. The Zixar sent 5 more. Then 10. The Horizon's Wake didn't fire railguns or plasma cannons. It disrupted them. Hacked their systems. Turned their own targeting arrays inward. The Zixar flagship destroyed itself without the humans ever firing a shot. The Dominion finally understood humans didn't just fight wars. They rewrote them. The war that wasn't. Within weeks, supply chains across the galactic rim began to crumble. Human code spread like a plague. On worlds that mocked Earth, factories stalled, weapons failed, cities went dark. Entire fleets starved in orbit as their automated systems locked up. The humans didn't need to invade. They simply removed participation from the equation. Admiral Vratel, the same one who started it all, watched his empire's infrastructure collapse before his eyes. How? He demanded. They were primitives. His aide trembled. They adapted, sir. They use what they have. They learn. The turning point. The Concord tried to negotiate. They sent envoys, ambassadors, pleas for mercy. The humans agreed to meet on neutral ground at the abandoned station of Vorth Prime. When the alien delegations arrived, the station was empty. Only a single projection flickered to life, a human officer in uniform, calm and composed. You drew first blood, the hologram said. You killed our civilians. You mocked us. Now you'll learn why your elders feared us. The transmission cut to silence. Then, one by one, the delegates' ships lost control. Their drives shut down. Their power systems overloaded. Each ship was gently tugged back toward its home system by automated tugs, piloted remotely by humans. They were spared, but humiliated beyond repair. The Elders lament. Elder Jalen watched from orbit as the younger species scrambled to recover. His feathers were pale now, his eyes dim. He'd seen this once before. A long time ago. When his kind first met humans, back when Earth still had oceans full of unpolluted water and skies full of machines. There had been a war then too, a small one. The Ileri had underestimated them. They'd expected to crush the Terrans in days. It took them years, and even then, only a truce stopped extinction. He had begged the Council not to repeat the mistake. Now it was too late. The human response. When the fleets finally appeared, they weren't massive. They weren't glowing with power or draped in banners. They were efficient, quiet, and cold. They didn't bombard planets or slaughter civilians. They didn't need to. Instead, they made every Zixar world look up one night and see Earth's symbol projected across their skies by orbiting satellites the Zixar hadn't even known existed. Then a voice spoke, transmitted into every frequency, every mind. You have taken. Now you will give back. For a decade, the humans occupied no territories, took no slaves, demanded no tribute. They simply dismantled the Dominion's hierarchy, exposed its corruption, freed its workers, redistributed its power. They didn't conquer. They corrected. The lesson. When it was over, the surviving council reconvened. This time, no one mocked. No one spoke loudly. Elder Jalen's words echoed through the chamber as the human envoy addressed them. We didn't want this, said Ambassador Reeves, the same diplomat who had once reminded the Vayari to check the treaty. We never do. But every time someone decides they can test us, every time they think Earth is weak, they forget what it takes to survive where we come from. He paused, his gaze steady. We learned to fight nature itself. To outlast famine, plague, extinction. Do you really think you could scare us? Silence filled the chamber. The legacy. Generations later, the story became legend. The war that wasn't a war. The wrath that burned without fire. Young species whispered of Earth in hushed tones, calling it the silent planet, the place you never provoked, the people you never betrayed. And when new empires rose, their elders taught their children the same lesson. Never provoke humanity. Because somewhere, out there in the black, a quiet species watched the stars and remembered every insult, every scar, every name. They never struck first. But if they did, there would be no second time.